Good evening. I'm John Asome, speaking from Melbourne, Australia. I was born in Hong Kong, BCC, and know the area around the Helena May well. I went to school at St. Joseph's College, across the Peak Tram tracks, and went to Mass at St. Joseph's Church, just next door. I would have been one of the first members of the American Library across the road. When I looked over to the Helena May from my classroom window, I used to think, that is where the spinsters lived. Firstly, I would like to thank Verna and Gillian Bickley for giving me the opportunity to bring my book to fruition. Gillian's patience and persistence has converted a mediocre manuscript into a fine book. Thank you, Gillian. 65 years ago, almost to the day, I spotted Mary Kwan on the jetty watching my ship come alongside in Kavieng. She spoke perfect English, and it intrigued me to find a Chinese girl in such a remote place. But then as I traveled the world, I seemed to find Chinese descendants everywhere. Have you ever felt claustrophobic cooped up in a jumbo jet? The two economy cabins together measure roughly 7 meters wide by 40 meters long. That was about the average space on a typical Coolie ship. Where there could have been 350 of you whiling away 12 hours of your life, some 400 coolies would have been enduring anything from 69 to 320 days in a similar space. When they couldn't go up on deck, the toilet buckets regularly overflowed into the sleeping space. That was the journey for over 291,000 Chinese men, women, and children that embarked on 732 ships for places sometimes unknown. Only about 247,000 of them made it to their destinations. 31 ships did not complete their voyages from stress of weather, abandonment, or mutiny. Early mutinies were brought about because of the cruelty of captains. They routinely treated their crews with contempt, and floggings were commonplace. It would not have crossed their minds that their coolie passengers should be treated any differently. However, cutting off their pigtails on the grounds of cleanliness may have been too extreme. At least 2 captains lost their lives because of this act. Mary Kwan lived in New Ireland, which was the scene for one of the stories in my book. How seafarers treated each other in the 1800s is described in the account of the Grimaniza. Then there's the story about the heroism of a 65-year-old Dutch pilot who risked his life trying to save lives from the shipwrecked Italia off Anja. When he fell off the ship totally exhausted, his faithful dog saved him. You'll no doubt be saddened by the testimony of Leung Asue. When his ship, the Don Juan, was set on fire by his fellow passengers, he was saved only because he still had a few dollars on him. Others, floundering about in the water, were ignored by the passing fishing junks. They could not pay to be saved. Such is man's inhumanity to man. Poetry books end with an envoy. My book is not of poems, but it has an envoy. Check it out. If you find my book interesting, mention it to a friend. Thank you, and take care.